Refusal to take the COVID-19 vaccine cannot be the only justification for employers to terminate staff, says attorney at law Chesley Hamilton. Speaking on Voice of the Caribbean Radio's Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis program on Tuesday, Mr. Hamilton explained that the employment policy determines whether or not vaccination can be considered a factor in termination.
It really depends on how you're employed and what your employment contract says. The issue is the company changing the employment agreement unilaterally, and in so doing, enforcing mandatory vaccination its employees unilaterally without negotiations and without agreement. Speaking to me while I'm employed with you for 10, 15 years and speaking to me about something that you want me to now do. That was not the agreement when I was employed. It will take some agreement and accommodation for us to come to that decision. Mm-hmm. And that is the problem. Firing me because I did not take the vaccine, because you want to impose it on me, doesn't seem like it can carry the day without more. There must be a need for these companies in the private sector to accommodate. They must give me alternatives. They must decide whether I'm going to be a frontline worker or not when I'm being giving you service for 10, 15, 20 years.
There are reports of several persons who would have lost their jobs in recent weeks in St. Kitts and Nevis for failing to take the COVID-19 vaccine. Some workers were presented with an option: take the vaccine or do a COVID-19 test every 2 weeks. Mr. Hamilton believes presenting this option to persons not wishing to take the COVID-19 vaccine is reasonable, but the employer should cover part of the cost of the tests.
It is a rational and reasonable alternative. Now, the difference is, some are saying, well, if you don't take the vaccine, then you have to be tested, but you will pay for the test. No, I think that cost should also be shared. The employer must say, listen to me, I will meet you halfway when you test because you have given me service. There might be a number of reasons why I can't take the vaccine.
As for those workers who lost their jobs, what legal recourse do they have?
I do believe they have options. It's hard fighting for a client, tell our client base who are now unemployed. But in terms of from a legal standpoint, there's good law that can be practiced. They need to find a good civil practitioner and come together and bond their resources together so that they can fight this thing. It is not an easy case because some people might be employed for 10 years. Others may be employed for 15, 20 odd years. And therefore, different things come into play, different variables come into play. So crystallizing, consolidating a case like that, even though it's one employer, it has in itself challenges, but it can be done.
The full interview with Mr. Hamilton can be found on demand on www.voiceofthecaribbean.net. Let's Talk St. Kitts and Nevis airs on Voice of the Caribbean Radio on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. with rebroadcasts on Wednesdays and Fridays also at 10 a.m. at voiceofthecaribbean.net. I'm Andre Huey for SKN Newsline.